The Ni-He-Wan Basin is quiet. Apart from the sounds of nature, the only noise to break the silence is the sound of human footsteps.
我一直在尼河湾啊，很想找到尼河湾猿人。在尼河湾盆地，目前发现大概有100多处遗址。光这个100万年以前的遗址啊，这儿就有40多处。肯定是有人，但是这50年来一直还没有找到。
A million years ago, a lake once existed in this basin. Extensive archaeological research has shown that early humans lived here. But just as the mystery of the lake's disappearance remains unsolved, time has hidden away the human fossils that Wei Qi is looking for. Today, more than 100 million people live in the vast Haihe River basin. It is along the banks of this great river that the ancient Chinese civilization left its first humble but important footprints. The river's abundant gifts drew people to it, and they have stayed ever since. Since his first visit to the Ni-He-Wan Basin in 1972, Wei Qi has spent half a century here, finding more questions than answers.
这是水层来的，你看看，这是原来的地方。地球形成以后，这个生物演化，它是从原始到进步，但是你发现的东西啊，还是很少的。 就像看大海一样，你就看到你视野里头的海洋的表面，很远处、很深处，你什么都不知道。
In the early years, a young Wei Qi, along with fellow researcher Guy Pei from the Chinese Academy of Sciences, discovered stone tools used by humans a million years ago. The finding provided additional evidence supporting the idea that Ni-He-Wan is linked to the origins of Eastern human civilization.
1972年，盖贝和魏奇先生他们在上沙嘴，发现了一些石制品。那么1978年的时候，小桥梁遗址被发现，后来的研究呢，证明它是距今136万年以前。再加上后来的这个东固坨呀、马圈沟啊，很多遗址、飞梁啊。 我们上100万年的遗址，越来越多。所以说，从这个上世纪70、80年代以后啊，人类都把这个目光啊，就在东亚探索人类这个祖先的目光都聚焦在尼河湾。
From the early Majwango site, which dates back 1.76 million years, to the more recent Hutoliang site, about 10,000 years old, the discoveries in Ni-He-Wan have only scratched the surface in the quest to trace humanity's origins. The slow evolutionary process that unfolded over vast epochs in Ni-He-Wan remains largely a mystery. The Sanggan River, a tributary of the Haihe River, flows gently eastward, carving out thousands of ravines in Ni-He-Wan and breathing life into what was once a barren wilderness. For the villagers of Nihewan, this elderly visitor in his 80s is a familiar figure. In 2006, with their help, Wei Qi discovered another Paleolithic site at Heitu Gol.
坐好啊，走了。你看多大？你看这个很有意思，你看这个好像是摸过，是打过一个，你看有个痕迹，这个地方。
At Heitu Gol, Wei Qi unearthed 981 stone tools of various shapes and sizes. Based on the surrounding rock layers, he estimates that they are over 1.9 million years old. More than 130 different ancient species have been found throughout Nihewan, dating from between 1 and 3 million years ago. This research is a beacon guiding us through the exploration of human origins. Just how far back in time can it take us? In the early 20th century, archaeologists in China discovered ancient human remains on Longgu Mountain, just outside Beijing. These remains, from between 700,000 and 200,000 years ago, showed some ape-like features, but these early humans were already making tools and harnessing fire to improve their lives. When these early humans left their caves and began searching for new homes along the rivers, it might have seemed like a small step for mankind, but it was a giant leap toward civilization. At the meeting point of the Sangan and Yanghe rivers, the clear and muddy waters merge to form the upper reaches of the Yongding River, a tributary of the海河. Around 4,600 years ago, a tribal conflict ended here when an alliance of the Yan and Huang tribes defeated Cheryu of the Zhou tribes. After the Battle of Zhuolu, the opposing sides gathered and pledged an oath to form a stronger tribal federation through mutual tolerance. This unification of the various groups laid the foundation for Chinese civilization. Just after the Mid-Autumn Festival, the villagers at the foot of Fenghuang Mountain welcome in the harvest season. The crop in the fields, once known as su in ancient China, is what we know today, once it's been husked as millet. In the 14th century, as people moved here to reclaim land for farming, this hilly terrain on the eastern slope of the Taihang Mountains began to see more human activity.
这就是一方水土养一方人啊，可以就是当你个个人。
Millet has been the crop of choice in Anzerling village for generations. In the hilly dryland areas where water is scarce, millet remains a hardy and resilient crop. This way of farming, which might seem outdated today, has embodied the Chinese philosophy of harmony between mankind and nature since it began. Moving away from hunting as the main food source was a significant change for those who first embraced this new way of life. In 1972, about 20 kilometers east of Anzerling village, on a terrace along the northern bank of a tributary of Minghe River, while dredging a canal, local residents by chance uncovered pottery vessels, grindstones, and other farming tools. They also found a large amount of carbonized plant remains. Analysis revealed these remains contained two types of millet, broomcorn millet and foxtail millet, dating back about 8,000 years to the late Neolithic period. This unexpected discovery at the Xishan site in China pushed the origin of global agricultural history back nearly 2,000 years, prior to Mesopotamia in West Asia.
早期农业证据链比较完备的时期呢，就是慈山文化这个阶段。北方汉字农业形成过程中最初阶段发现的那些考古遗址，很多都集中在太行山东路和古黄河的夹道之间的这个我们叫走廊地带。就是因为这个早期人类从山区开始向河谷地带开始逐渐迁徙，是吧？因为要从采集狩猎这种生业模式向农耕生产的转变了，这时候他必须要离开山地，向这个河谷地带迁徙。那么这河谷地带呢，就是我们说的海河水系。
Flowing downstream, the Minghe River feeds into the Fuyang River, which, along with the Hutuo River, converges into the Zerya River at the ancient city of Zhangzhou. All these rivers eventually flow into the Bohai Sea via the Haihe River. This long and winding journey shapes the vast Hebei Plain and marked the beginning of Chinese agricultural civilization. Whether by accident or design, the union of water and land has always had the potential to inspire great creativity. Throughout history and even today, humanity has always sought to create change in the most challenging ways.
Yeah, 晒了多少条去嘞？晒了好几条嘞。你还得早上回来收拾了吧去嘞。
Every August, as the millet ripens, the village of Wangjinzhuang in Shexian County, nestled in the eastern slope of the Taihang Mountains, begins its Sichuan pepper harvesting season. The terraced fields here have been cultivated for nearly 1,000 years. They form a unique agricultural system created by the people of Wangjinzhuang. These terraces store water during the rainy season and release it during dry spells. This careful management of soil and water resources not only prevents soil erosion and retains moisture, but also supports sustainable rain-fed farming. In 2022, the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations recognized the Shexian Dryland Stone Terraced System as a globally important agricultural heritage system.
能够形成这样辉煌的一个文明阶段，主要依靠的农业是以种植粟和熟这两种小米为特点的汉造农业。黄色的土地、黄色的河、黄色的小米养活了我们黄皮肤的中华民族。
The beautiful Shangdu River, flowing across the Inner Mongolia Plateau, marks the northernmost point of the Haihe River Basin. It nourishes the fertile grasslands of Jinlian Chuan. In 1275, the young Venetian explorer Marco Polo, after 4 challenging years of travel with his father and uncle, finally arrived in what the Westerners saw as a wealthy Oriental paradise. Xanadu, a capital of the empire that shaped the fate of the Eurasian continent, but was eventually lost to history, left a lasting impression on Marco Polo. He wrote, "In this city, Kublai Khan had a vast palace built of marble and other ornamental stones. Its halls and rooms are covered with gilded images. The whole building is richly decorated and quite astonishingly beautiful. It extends from the center of the city to the city walls, enclosing a good 16 miles of land." This was China in the 13th century through Marco Polo's eyes, wealthy and full of mystery. Over the next 16 years, Marco Polo traveled through more than 50 cities in China. His famous later published travelogue allowed people in the Western world to learn about China through written accounts for the first time, rather than myths and legends. Writing, as a tool for recording human observations and thoughts, embodies the cultural language of a people. What did the earliest forms of writing look like? The sands of time have buried many of the answers. When archaeologists discovered writing systems among the relics of the world's earliest 4 civilizations, the cuneiform of Babylon, the Egyptian hieroglyphs, and the Harappan script of the Indus Valley civilization had long ceased to be used. Only Chinese characters, which witnessed the rise and fall of numerous dynasties, have continued to shine with their enduring brilliance. Anyang, a city in the southern part of the Haihe River basin, is nurtured by the Huanhe River that flows down from the Taihang Mountains. In the late 19th and early 20th centuries, archaeologists discovered the Yin ruins, the site of the earliest known capital in China with written records, as well as the earliest known form of Chinese writing, the Oracle Bone Script.
甲骨文是一个成熟系统的文字，它之前也有文字，只不过是到了殷墟这个阶段，才开始把占卜的记录刻写在甲骨文上，所以才产生了甲骨文。
Although these early scripts have not been fully deciphered, the main information people communicated at the time was contained within these ancient symbols. It was a Bronze Age civilization that would amaze the world. The developing writing system evolved into richer and more systematic forms of expression as the Shang dynasty rose in power. As the final center of power for the dynasty, the capital Yin preserved this magnificent history. A large number of divination records tell us that more than 3,000 years ago, in addition to the supreme royal authority, the ever-flowing power of the rivers helped shape the destiny of this dynasty.
海河流域的文明啊，历史非常悠久，它甚至在整个世界文明史上都占有非常重要的地位。世界上最早的陶器，世界上最早的面具，世界上最早的塑作农业的发祥地，目前找到的世界上最早的养蚕的发祥地，都是在海河文明里边。
The Taihang Mountains, the Haihe River's main water source, stretch from north to south. Along their eastern edge, where the mountains meet the plains, an intriguing pattern emerges. At the point where nearly every river emerges from the mountains, a city stands. These cities varying in size, forming a bright corridor of civilization.
8000年前后，这些考古遗址，把它集中放在地图上，你就会看到呢，很大一部分都分布在以太行山东路为一条线的这个南北线上。这个地区呢，为什么会成为早期人类这个所选择的主要的居住区？与这个太行山东路本身所具备的从山地向河谷地带转移的提供的这种便利条件啊，地理环境和这个当地的这个植被啊、生态特点有一定的关联。
Water flows from the mountains, carving paths as it goes. In Chinese, a natural passage between two mountains is called a xing. Over time, the Haihe River system carved out numerous such passages through the Taihang Mountains, the most famous being the 8 paths of Taihang.
太行八行呢，它是靠海河流域的水系切割山脉所形成的，它不用人工去专门开凿这条通道，沿着河谷就可以穿过，就构成了沟通太行山两路政治、经济、文化、商贸各个方面交通的一个重要的通道。
These ancient passages outline the corridor of civilization along the eastern Taihang Mountains, providing a grand stage for countless heroes to leave their mark on history. High on all sides, low in the middle, as deep as a well, and in the shape of a stove. This is how the ancient Chinese geographical text Universal Geography of the Taiping Era describes the Jingxing Passage. It was here that Han Xin turned the tide of disadvantage and defeated the Zhao army in late 3rd century BC. This site is also where modern China achieved victory in the 100 Regiments Offensive against the Imperial Japanese Army in 1940. The deep ruts along the Jingxing ancient route still echo the regimented power of the unified Qin Empire from over 2,000 years ago, when the axle lengths of chariots and carts were standardized. Meanwhile, at the Jundu Passage in the northern Haihe River Basin, the majestic Juyong Pass stands as a witness to centuries of alternating war and peace. The powerful force of rivers carving out paths through mountains has facilitated interactions among different ethnic groups and regions, freeing them from the constraints of the impenetrable terrain. Yet, what these routes connect goes far beyond mere geographical points. In the northern region beyond the Great Wall, winter freezes the rivers solid. An experienced fisherman knows how to find the best spot to cast a net under the thick ice. On the headwaters of the Luanhe River in the northern Haihe River Basin, Swenhe is considered a master of fishing. The other fishermen call him the boss because he leads the winter fishing season. Many local stories tell of the Khitan people once living here. Others say that generations of Mongolian descendants have lived by the lake, known as Lake Kulun Nur. which also bears the charm nickname Swan Lake. This is Swen He's final net casting for 2022. In 10 days, when the ice begins to melt, those hoping to enjoy the freshest catch will have to wait until next winter.
也跟那个深海一样嘛，那还。老略病使用走水好了，我下我。俺们家是那么粗的靶子，这小人娃都能塞进去。好，硬眼就别移。就打一个吧。就打一个。打一个，知道，就这就行，知道。
After breaking the ice, they use a water mouse, a device that emits a faint light to illuminate the best spot to cast the net during the night.
刚才看见是鱼不？
是鱼，
就是鱼。
鱼。
就是确实鱼，这个量确实鱼，都是。这个方向行吗？行，这个方向就接着就走，往西走就行。
The fishing net is slowly lowered into the water with the help of a winch. The results of this last winter fishing expedition will be known in 3 days. Life in the fishing village is less dependent on farming, setting it apart from most other regions in China. During the coldest part of winter, temperatures can drop to as low as -40 degrees Celsius. Even in these harsh conditions, Lake Kulun Nur provides year-round essential resources for the local villagers.
不会打鱼那会儿，我老一辈子就是也是冬天走干了。刚第三时候，干我45、60那年，我就开始就打上了这鱼就。 风景又好，空气又好，做60多年了，真的舍不得。
This is the life Swen He knows best, a tradition preserved through generations. The bounty of the Haihe River makes North China's harsh winters seem less severe. This vast river system, with its all-encompassing warmth, provides a common support system for people across the region, forming the vibrant foundation of a multi-ethnic community. Li Jie from Tianjin University and his team are undertaking a project that has never been attempted before.
"我现在开始飞路东了啊！
没见过这么做的，这应该是第一次。
They plan to use cutting-edge technology to perform the first ever full-scale scan of the Ming Dynasty Great Wall. This vast feat of human engineering, spanning thousands of years, can only be fully appreciated from above, where its winding and majestic form is revealed. The Great Wall is shrouded in many unsolved mysteries, and with each new study, answers continue to evolve.
这个石头。
The drone scans reveal regularly spaced gaps in the wall, which allowed the guarding troops to cross over and launch surprise counterattacks. These are referred to as hidden doors.
它不是说我站在办公室，我坐在办公室，这个就非常好。左转5度。
So far, the research team from Tianjin University has discovered over 200 hidden doors. However, a more elusive type of hidden door, known as the Tumen, first designed by the philosopher Mozart during the spring and autumn period, had never been found on the Great Wall until now.
这儿吗？石头下不来。
再往下走。
我看到外侧是一个不太整齐的一个门，它就像个破洞一样。这有可能就是我当初想象的那个凸门的样式。它这个宽度已经证明了，就是一定原来是一个凸门。它虽然不是墨子那个时代建的，但是它是完全相同的思路和做法。就是2000多年传承，不是就一个孤立，但现在至少我们找到的就这一个了。这是一个，这是一个真的凸门。明代的时候被击碎之后，它一直使用状态，它顶部又体现就是它刚击碎。这砖是犬牙刺户的，就这少一块，这多一块，而且这多的一块还特别齐整。你就真的感觉就是明代时候它击碎的时候那样子就在眼前。
After more than 4 years of data collection and analysis, the team has completed the world's first digital reconstruction of the Ming Dynasty Great Wall. It vividly brings to life the great fortifications constructed over 600 years ago. The Great Wall leaves a majestic impression of China on the world, built upon more than 2,000 years of encounters, interactions, and eventual integration of the various ethnic groups that make up Chinese civilization. In 221 BC, when China was first unified into an empire under the Qin dynasty, Emperor Qin Shi Huang connected the defensive walls of the former Yan, Zhao, and Qin states. Over the next 1,800 years, this unique wall served as a crucial military barrier for most of the succeeding dynasties against the northern nomadic tribes. In the Haihe River basin, the Great Wall crosses the North Canal, Yongding River, Daqing River, and Zheya River. The 6,200 kilometers of man-made walls interweave with 2,600 kilometers of natural landscape, forming a seemingly fragmented yet truly continuous defense line. It intertwines with the Grand Canal, creating an unparalleled system of both defense and transportation in China's imperial past.
令人非常惊讶，就之前所有的猜测都是错的，
也是一个新的发现啊。长城这个体系啊，它并不仅仅是那道墙，也是一个秩序带，所以保境安民嘛。北方的游牧民族历史上他们都很彪悍，骑着马就冲过来了，抢了东西就跑了，那你怎么管呢？这秩序怎么维持啊？我是觉得有了长城之后呢，可以使这种民族的这种交往啊，就说更规范一些。
War casts a cold, stark tone over this incredible long wall. Once a trench of opposition between different factions, it transformed in a dramatic twist into a brilliant thread of cultural exchange and integration. At the northwestern end of the Haihe River basin, the Taihang, Hengshan, and Yenshan mountains converge, forming another natural basin. In this basin lies the ancient Yuxian County, nestled at the foot of the Great Wall close to the Feihu Passage of the Taihang Mountains. Wang De is a blacksmith from Nuanchuan ancient town. In addition to forging iron, he has mastered a unique local tradition that has been passed down through 13 generations in his family.
到现在已经有500多年了。我们的匠人们在平时干活的时候，发现这个铁水掉在地下特别好看。后来这个老人们试着把它铺在城墙上，形成现在这个大树。
When pig iron is heated to 1,700 degrees Celsius, it liquefies and becomes ready to take center stage for the night. The tradition is a brazen display of courage, rooted in the spirit of this ancient land. When the molten iron is flung against the high fortress walls, it creates a spectacle more glorious than fireworks. Though no one knows how many battles and hardships this ancient fortress has endured over the centuries, it still stands firm at the foot of the Great Wall. Here, as these flowers of molten iron light up the night sky, they also transform into the spectacular expression of a vigorous civilization.